All right. So yeah, today we're going to talk about and really I'm when Helgeson hops on here, I'm just going to let him light it up and kind of take it away. But he wanted to talk about just doing enough to win, tracking your numbers, making enough dials, sticking to an exact schedule, and at the end of the day, you guys, when it comes to virtual, the same thing is true if you're going out there in the field in person, that kind of thing. But it's especially true when you're virtual. And I see a lot of agents not getting the results that they want to get. And a lot of that ends up having to do with, like, can you get unlucky for a little bit? Sure. There can be some periods of time where, like, you just get unlucky and you have a bunch of nonsense going on, as far as your clients or sales or whatever. But, at the end of the day, hard work is undefeated in this business. Okay. And so the number one thing, especially like if you're like, hey, I don't feel like I'm getting the results that I want to get. Okay, that's okay. Maybe you haven't had the year that you've wanted so far, or the month that you've wanted so far, or whatever it is. Here's what I would encourage you to do. Number one is I would start tracking your dials. Okay, the amount of people that I see or that come to me that are virtual that maybe aren't getting the results that they want to get, that are not tracking their dials. Okay, that is a problem, because how can we help you? How can we coach you if you don't know how many phone calls that you're making on a daily basis? Okay, so number one, like, absolutely, you need to be tracking your dials, because then and it is a little bit different over virtual. Like, hey, here's the asterisk on that. When you're virtual, it's very, very, very possible that, hey, you maybe only have a day where you make, 40 phone calls or something, because you're having lots of long conversations, you're putting in applications, like, you're doing work. Okay. It's still productive. Okay. But you need to be tracking your dials, and we're going to talk about this. And I think David's gonna talk on this maybe a little bit more, but you need to be tracking your dials, and you also just need to be tracking the times that you're working. Like, how many of us, we get into the office and it's 10 o'clock, and then we just mosey along. Oh, I need a cup of coffee. Oh, I need this. I need that. Oh, there we go. Those kinds of things. And so, you need to track the hours that you're making dials. Like, the dial number is important. Okay. But, it's not just the dial number, because you might only make 30 dials or 40 dials, but you're having lots of really great conversations, being perfectly productive. And if that's the case, then that's great. If you feel like nobody's answering, then you need to be hammering the phones. Like, the amount of people that come to me and they're, it's like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock where they're at. And they're like, hey, I didn't get enough answers today. It's like, bro, keep dialing. What are we talking about here? You're like, you got plenty more time. Like, you can call till 7:30, 7:45. Some places, I don't know what it's like. It's probably different depending on where you live, but you can probably call till 8 o'clock. So, we got the man himself, Mr. Dr. David Helgeson, on here. Mr. Dr. David.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Sorry, I was running a couple minutes late there.
No, you're good, man. All I've talked about so far is just tracking the dials.
Yeah, well, and you hit a good the little I was already catching that, because like for some of you that like it sounds crazy what I'm about to say here, but like I got a little bit of like my busy work done, and I haven't got to make a dial yet today, which isn't my favorite scenario of a Monday, but it's also 9 a.m. my time. So like if it's like the part I caught of Nick, like if it's noon your time or 4 p.m. your time, even if you're part time and like you're just trying to get a couple dials done, that's not a good look. I knew I was gonna. My wife and I have switched up a new gym routine for certain days when my daughter's not at preschool. So I knew now this works perfect what we're talking about, Nick. I knew now I had to move my schedule a little bit. So I may a lot of times what I personally do the first half hour when I get into the office, especially on Monday, is I clean up. What was there people that hit me up when I didn't answer like later Saturday, or I don't work at all on Sunday? Was there emails that I got of like pending requirements for applications that I put in? Just like did I get paid on some of these that I now got to go track and make sure I saved their marked them as paid on my sheet and saved made sure I saved their application in case I ever need to rewrite them a future year, like all this busy stuff. And that used to be like the first thing I would do. But now I knew I was going to get in later. So like before my daughter got up today, that's the stuff I was doing. Like if one of you guys got a text from me in our group chat or something at 6:30 in the morning my time, that's why. Like I was getting that busy stuff done. So then now when this call is over, I can hit the ground running into my first dial. So like that whole point, I don't know if that's exactly what you're talking, Nick, but like have some sort of a schedule and a plan of attack. So, again, don't roll in at noon your time or 4 p.m. your time trying to get things done for the day. That's a disaster. But even if you are starting at 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., whatever, when you're getting going, like what's your plan once you're there? Because it's not good enough just to be, calling your leads all day long when there's like no real plan of attack versus like, hey, from the hours of 9 to 12, I'm hitting this thing hard at doing this. And then from 12 to 12:30, I'm going to do these follow-ups. In my last 40 minutes today, I'm hitting these follow-ups again. Like, do you have any kind of a plan, or do you just roll into the office saying like, hey, I'm doing insurance today from 8 to 5? But what are you doing? Because like you could get an entire week's worth of production done that just today's 8 to 5 that some people will do when they just kind of roll into the office not sure what they're trying to accomplish. And I feel like every week I talk to myself on this, Nick, because that's what I recognize from last week, that like I am very dedicated usually on my hours, but I wanted to make a more purposeful of not wasting any of those hours better than what I felt like I did the last couple of weeks. So like I wanted to really tighten up, specifically getting to my new dials sooner. So like I already got my new dials that I bought today uploaded. Got my sheets and everything ready. Like it's not that now I got to go search for them or print them off or put them into a dial. I don't have to do any of that. It's ready. And when we get off this call, bam, I got to go hit that. That's something I'm trying to do better, because there was days I'd get my follow-ups done, and maybe I'm even putting applications in and stuff, but now all of a sudden it is 1, 2, 3 o'clock and I haven't even made a new dial yet. And that's great if you put a couple applications in like I did one of the days, but then there was another day I didn't put any apps in and I didn't get to any new dials until way late in the afternoon. I'm going, what am I doing here? So you just constantly gotta self-police yourself, be self-sufficient, and maximize the use of your time.
For sure. And you are in the game. You're making, you're putting in apps basically every single day. What do you do? Like, is there anything else that you do that you feel like helps you be more efficient? Like, are you calling certain leads at certain times? Like, do you do anything like that? Because I've had some of these conversations with people where, it makes sense to me. Like when I'm calling ethos leads, like if I'm calling them earlier in the day, like I just call the old people first, the people that are probably at home. You know what I mean? And then I'll, like in the afternoon, I'll just call everybody, no prejudice there, but like I'm gonna start with the older people. Like, so do you do anything like that, or you just throw them, you got them in a dialer, or like how are you doing it?
I mean, that's a great idea. I know I've heard you mention that before. I personally have never done that. Probably, why wouldn't you? Like, if it's easy enough for you to separate some of these out and call the older ones, great. I'll give you the other side of that coin, because I talk to agents where they want to like hold on and wait until the perfect time. So it is 12:30, and you're going, all right, let me go back to the gym for the second time today, and let me go play pickleball for 4 hours, and then I'll come back when the people are there. So like I don't give a rip. I call them when it's convenient to me. I had a new lady that got frustrated because somebody told her, don't call me on Sunday. And I go, I was telling this nice new agent, like, no, Sundays are a perfect time to call. And if you have off because your husband's not working on Sunday, you go call on Sunday. And if you get one grouchy people or three grouchy people, well, who gives a rip? Like what you like, work this business for what makes sense to you. So yeah, if you're in the office anyways and you have so many leads you don't know what to do with, and you want to prioritize right now at 9, 10 a.m. Pacific who to call, and you want to call the older people, I think that is a logical, great idea. But if you're going to sit here and wait till 4 p.m. now to go call the younger people because you somehow think that now is not a good time, that's stupid.
Yeah, I agree. I would agree, and that's a really good way to put that. Um, yeah, what else? I mean, here's just overall when it comes to virtual, like you need to be tracking your numbers. You need to know what is going on in your business. And there's so many of us where it's like, hey, like just like you said, like, oh, I'm just going to show up and do insurance today. And you're not tracking anything. Like that's not a business. Okay. You need to be able to treat this like a business, and you need to make the phone calls. You got to do what you got to do. You got to make the phone calls. You need to make sure that you're making enough phone calls. Like there's almost just like an escape velocity you got to get to. And that number is probably average like 100, 150, maybe 200 dials a day. Um, but once you get there, it's just like you end up having so much stuff going on that you're putting in plenty of work. And then it becomes more of a matter of like, okay, now you really got to be organized of like, hey, here's what I'm doing my pending, here's what I'm doing my other stuff, here's what I'm making my new dials, all that, all those kinds of things. Um, what else? Is there anything else you want to add to that? And
Yeah,
we
well, and I see a question here of someone's asking what does our perfect day or schedule look like? And I guess we can answer that a few different ways. But you just started to tail end that. Like, here's all these things you have to get done. So what do you prioritize? And Nick, help me if I'm missing any. So you got to make you're trying to make new dials to get new things in the pipeline. You're following up with people that you have already got a hold of. So let's say you're doing these 2 call closes virtually. So now you got all these people that you did have a good conversation with. You booked them the next day, and now either like you're calling for the first time, or now like they didn't answer from yesterday or last week or 2 weeks ago. So you got these people that you just need to get a hold of to give the numbers to. Then you might have got a hold of those people on call one and call two, and they told you they need to go talk to their spouse about it and determine which one they want to do, and now they're in witness protection. So you got to try to get back a hold of those people just to give you a yes or no, are you in or are you out. Then as you were talking to the call one people, you got to go research, well, which company can I even do, which medications are okay for this product, and you got their list of stuff you're supposed to call them tomorrow, and you got to make time to go figure that out. Then you've submitted other people already, and now you're getting emails that they say we need a diabetes questionnaire, or you need to give us permission to draft the payment, or ask the client why they already applied for insurance. Do they have other coverage? So like you got all this stuff. Am I missing anything from that? Because it's calling brand new, getting researching what to do in between calling one to call two, calling the call two people, calling the ghosted people, and following up with pending stuff. Am I missing anything?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
So you got all of this stuff. And if you're overwhelmed, I'm overwhelmed too. Because I was just talking to my aunt and uncle that were visiting from Minnesota over the weekend, and they're asking how work's going. I'm going, it's great. Like some of the stuff, some of the self-employed things I've done before, I didn't feel like I could be busy 40 hours a week if I wanted to. And now I try to work for 40 hours, but I have 70 hours of work to get done in 40. So it's nice, but it's also just kind of like chaos at all times because I never have enough time in the day to get it all done, which is great. Better than the opposite side. Nick and I have been in a business before where you're twiddling your thumbs trying to, warm market recruit the same, 12 people off of Facebook for the 13th time in a row. And you got to wait till they get off work before you can try to meet up for happy hour to go pitch something to them. Like that sucked because you don't have enough people to talk to. You don't have enough. There's no such thing as leads. Like you don't have enough stuff to do. So I'd rather be too busy. But that's the issue. So by far most important, if you have pending business, because Nick and we've both seen this with agents, they go put a Transamerica app in, and it took them 3.5 hours to submit the darn thing, and it took them 3 weeks to hear something back, and now they're waiting on some sort of one pending thing to finally get paid, and that agent takes days to go and take care of that. That makes me literally want to pull my hair out when I hear of those stories. So the most important thing, you got money that all you got to do is get like a requirement done, and then they're going to go pay that money, and it's already going to be approved and everything. That is of utmost importance. Get paid. Go move the stuff to get put in your bank account. You got someone approved and they said, blah, 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 like, whatever. There's one thing happening before, or they got approved. Now you just got to get them to understand, hey, we're about to draft that tomorrow. Or, hey, congrats, it's improved and all that. Like that is by far the first thing you take care of. I had a guy this morning at 6:30 in the morning on messaging because his wife got declined with 2 other applications. Now I think I can get him a forester's term based on their height and weight and the diabetes. I met like he asked me for that Saturday night, 6:30 in the morning. First thing I did is messaging what the numbers are for 100 and 150 grand of a 20-year term, because all I got to do is hear yes to that, and bam, let's go put that sucker in, and it's probably going to get approved. That is the utmost importance. What's the easiest way to get paid? Okay, so that's your pending business. Take care of that, track that. Don't let that fall off the board where now you're sitting here waiting another week or two to get paid on something you already put the work in and they're ready to pay. take their money when they're ready to pay. Don't make them wait. So that's by far most important. Then from there, the first thing the day Nick had always taught me, and Nick, you can chime in anytime on this, but go follow up with the ones you've already had a conversation with, especially like the hottest 5 to 10. So who are the ones that you talked to last week and now you just haven't been able to get a hold of them? Because I look in tracking my stuff. Sometimes I go 7 to 10 days before I get back to them a second or third time. That's my bad. I need to professionally, persistently stay on them sooner, because you will realize, and I've given examples of this in our Telegram before, but like the 10th, 15th, 20th different day I've reached out to them goes in no problem, like just super duper easy. So like people, aren't blowing you off on purpose. And if they didn't answer you 1 or 2 times, like don't assume now that means they just don't want to talk to you. So the ones you've already had a good conversation with, that's your next one to put of priority. And then the next most priority is staying on top of the new leads, because I have also made the mistake. I mean, look at this. I cleared this out. I cleared this out on Friday. I still have this many follow-ups. These are just the ones that ghosted me, either not hearing the price or I got to think about the price. And I already threw another, stack this big into another folder. So like you can get frustrated following up with the people that have blown you off over and over. Don't just do that. Because you can sit there now, don't ignore them and never talk to those people again, because like there's money in there and I'm making sales each time I go through it. But it also can frustrate me because the same people that ghosted me the last 6 times probably are going to ghost me on the 7th. So like don't put your hope in that's going to make a productive day, but don't not talk to those people, because then you go pull an easy one out and it's great. So it's don't forget about the follow-ups, and maybe it's the first half hour or an hour, maybe it's the first hour and the last hour of your day, but like the follow-ups have to happen every day. But the core of your time, when you're not actually submitting applications, has to be reaching out, putting the new people in the funnel. It's always going to be easier to call someone you've never called before, or that's never picked up your call before, and try to get them versus the one that's ignored you a bunch of times. So it really is balancing all that. So to answer the person's question, a perfect day would be you're calling to fix a couple pending, now those are coming, and you are submitting 4 or 5 different new applications that day, and you were so busy you didn't get to follow up with any of the ghosted people, and you didn't get to make any new calls because all you did is call the insurance company and say, hey, draft that premium. Yep, this is what this is. I know that one's getting paid next week. And then I sat here and did applications from booking my calls the day before. That would be a perfect day. So if you're not spending all day just putting applications in, it's how can I get an easy one on the phone that can lead to yes, which is probably one of those call to people. And then if that's not happening, now it's how fast can I call enough people to get an easy one on the phone. I called one ethos lead. Let me pull the numbers up to you, and then I'll stop babbling here, Nick. I called one ethos lead that I signed the wife up. I did. The wife bought a. Let me see here. She bought a $211.35 a month Royal Neighbors policy from me. I called her back the next, I think, day or 2 days later, and talked to the husband. Hey, did you get anything? And I sold him a $251.09 a month policy. That's $500 a month off of one ethos lead. Now you hear that and you go, well, that's great. Well, yeah, but I buy a minimum of 80 of these ethos leads a week. I'm drowning in ones I still haven't got to fast enough. So if you buy 40 leads and then you sit there and try to work them for 3 weeks, you're never going to find the $500 a month in one. So it's how fast can you get back to calling new ones? I don't care. After I wrote $500 a month, Nick, do you think I care about the 20 others in that batch of a week that told me to kick rocks and wouldn't even hear me finish my first sentence? No, I'm just on to the next one. But like if you don't work enough hours, if you don't make enough dials, if you don't call enough leads, you're never going to get to find the fun ones like that. And then you get frustrated. So like when you hear these people that are doing well, it's because they're making more dials, calling more leads, working more hours than you. So they find easier cream off the top like that faster than you do, or more often than you do.
Yep. And here's something else, just as it comes to scheduling, that I want to, I'm going to put this out there because it's absolutely true. Is if you can, if they're older, or it's a really simple solution, do a one call close. Like there's really nothing wrong with doing a one call close. If you are, and a lot of ethos end up becoming a 2 call close for one reason or another, just they're young, they're at work, oh, I'm busy right now, walking into the store, call me tomorrow, and it ends up being a call too. A mistake that I see as far as scheduling goes that a lot of new agents will make is they will try to They'll get all the health information, and then they'll spend 30 minutes trying to find the solution for Bob that they're not calling again until Friday. It's Monday, okay, and this is during peak dial times. Like, so I guess what I'm saying is, like, if you end up two call closing people, okay, schedule that second appointment. That's why you take the notes, and then come back, to find the solution later. Like, do it, early, super early in the morning, do it late at night. I wouldn't take 30 minutes of your day trying to find a solution for somebody that you're not calling for another day or 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, because you're just wasting time. You know what I mean? You need to be back on you want to be back on the phone, getting a hold of more people so you can get more appointments, so you can write more premium, and I see people make that mistake all the time as well. It's like, I will schedule a meeting, and then I won't even look at the notes until like the morning before I call that person. You know what I mean? To try and I get it. Like, when you're new, you don't know what product and what company and where they're going to get approved and all that kind of stuff. Put it in a group text with your manager. Put it in a Telegram. Throw it in there, to get some help of what the product is, and leverage that, rather than sitting there, doing risk assessments and calling these insurance companies, sitting on hold when you could be dialing other people, and you're not even going to talk to them again until Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, whatever. Don't waste all your time doing risk assessments, for people that you're not going to call for another day or two.
I was guilty of doing that too.
Yeah, I mean, it's all very tempting, because you get somebody who, and it's tempting for everything, because it's like, you get someone, it's like, oh gosh, that was a great conversation. Their budget's $500 a month or $300 a month or $200 a month. You just want to latch onto that one, and then spend all your time trying to figure that one out. That way, it's good to go. When really it's like, hey, just keep making new dials. Like, do that the morning before you talk to those people, the morning before you call them back. Let's see. It's all about good notes, Janet. That is absolutely right. I think we had another question in there.
Yeah, I already answered them.
Okay, with
It's like a perfect schedule.
the CRM one.
Oh, I didn't see that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're good. So how are you tracking all these different clients, and different sales? Because sales cycles is what it says. It says a CRM, a notebook, filing cabinets. Have at it.
I ideally like to do it all on these pieces of paper, and I print off the leads and it shows what's going on. I make these special notes on them. I'm now in the last month trying to move to a dialer. And it's called a wave dialer through High Level. That's what I'm personally trying to do right now. It's been a big transition for me because I'm such a grandpa and liking stuff around. But whatever you're doing, do something. And the biggest key that I took away from Nick in the beginning was just when we talk about, well, who's your hottest 20 leads you should be calling? Who's your hottest new 20 leads? Like, is it very clear to you that's different than just being on a spreadsheet with ones that you bought 6 months ago? I hope you have a good system of knowing these are my freshest ones that I'm working even harder, and then these are the ones I'm continuing to work in when I have even more time to keep doing. Or who are your freshest 10 people to follow up with? Not the one that didn't answer you 6 months ago. Like, who's the one you've only tried to get a hold of once or twice, and you need to try to get a hold of 5 more times. That you just got to get them to pick up the phone, and it might be putting the app in right then and there. Like, you need to make sure you're doing a good job however you're doing it. If it's a different color on the spreadsheet, if it's a separate spreadsheet, if it's different piles of paper, whatever you're doing, just like get a system that's working for you to be able to go back to.
Yeah, and here's, I'm going to throw this in here. Just, one of the things that I see a lot of people doing, and it's kind of we are buying leads. Hopefully, you're buying enough leads to be as busy as you want to be and as busy as you need to be. Like David said, he's buying 80 ethos leads a week. Like, I wonder how many of us on here are buying less than that, and then you wonder why you're writing less than David. Okay, and I'm not saying it to be mean or like make you compare yourself or anything like that. It's just like, hey, you got to have enough coming in. Now, you need to have enough coming in, and you need to work those leads really good. And I see new people all the time that they have leads from like 2 weeks ago that they've tried to call 2 times or 3 times. And then they just give up and stop calling those leads. Like, I promise you, I could call through your leads that you've given up on, and I could probably go write 10 grand in a week off of your leads, that just the ones that you've given up on.
And
Okay.
Nick, why is that? What? Cause such a good point. So why? Like, because that's where you got to look in the mirror right there. Why can Nick call the leads that I think suck, and Nick makes sales on them? I think we all understand Nick is a savant in the insurance industry and has become very good and mastered his craft. So now it becomes a, well, it's not necessarily the lead problem. It's maybe if I can communicate the way Nick does. Maybe if I put as many hours in over the last 3 years as Nick has, like I can start to maybe not even be as good as Nick, but I can be 50% as good as Nick. If I'm 5% as good as Nick now, well then now you're giving us some good stuff of like, okay, we can look in the mirror to keep working on ourselves and also recognize that maybe we don't close these leads now, but 2 years from now we'll be our skill set will keep getting so much better. Now we are closing leads like you're saying.
Yeah, and some of it I don't even think is necessarily like, okay, maybe some of it is skill. Okay, like there is a piece for that, and that's why we're on this call, and that's why we do these so we can raise our skill. That's why we're doing our Vegas event, May 3rd, with Legacy Life. So we can get better, so we can raise our skill level for sure. But also some of it is just a mindset. Okay, some of it is just mindset and just effort. Like, sometimes, oh, well, I've tried those people 3 times or 4 times or five. Like, who cares? Like, did you get a hold of them? Did they tell you to stop calling them? You know what I mean? And if not, then it's still a perfectly fine lead. And if you don't help them with their insurance, I promise you, someone else is going to help them with their insurance. Like, it happens to me all the time. Where like I'll go back to some of these leads, like, oh gosh, I barely tried to call these people. Let me try them again. And it over and over. Oh yeah, I already got it set up. I got Mutual of Omaha. Oh, I already got it set up. I got this company. Oh, it's because someone else is working and I wasn't. You know what I mean? So don't give up on the leads. Now, on the flip side, you also don't want to be calling your leads from 6 months ago. Like that just means you don't have enough leads. Okay. But you want to get enough leads every week where you can focus on calling the new ones, hammer them out. And then, sometimes people are like, oh, I just don't have anything left to do. I've called all my leads. Like, no, that either means you don't have enough leads or you've given up on certain batches of your older leads, because they're still in there. They're still perfectly good. So I don't want to beat that one up too hard, but that is the truth.
No, do you hit
Next,
it? It's skill set, but it's a good reminder there because I was taking it skill set wise of like to give everybody hope. If you're not closing, if you buy 100 leads and whatever that number is, you're closing 0, 1, 5, 10, whatever that number is. We should all have hope that we can continue to work on our craft, get better, and 6 months or a year from now, buy another 100 leads and in theory close more. But part of it might just literally be, dude, what was your mindset calling those? Because yeah, you get a poopy little mindset calling them, you're probably not going to have as good of a time. Like, dude, and again,
yeah,
I feel like I just talk to myself in these calls over and over every week. But like, you know how good it would, how much better of a chance of closing after back to back bad calls would be if I just like go run around my house and do 10 push-ups and 10 squats and then come back, or like go have my daughter tell me a knock knock joke and then come back. Like, dude, how just like life's not that bad. We're working from home, guys. We're calling people to help them sign them up. I used to work businesses where I'd sit there and go through all that work, and I'd try to sell them something that costs $15 retail to go make $1.50 or some stupid thing. I can't believe that's what I was putting time and effort into doing in years past. Like there's people that's what they're doing. So you get to call somebody and then they answer and you can go make hundreds or thousands of dollars, not dozens of dollars. So like it's not that bad, guys.
yeah, for sure. And a lot of it, I think, does have to do with mindset. Let me just tell you guys a quick story. So when I was brand new in this business, brand new, I was working direct mail. I didn't know what a new lead was. I didn't know what leads were good, what leads were bad. Like I didn't know anything. All I knew was Mark Hutchison told me buy these direct mail leads. Okay, or excuse me. What happened is I got these direct mail leads, and I had maybe each week I was getting maybe like a new 30 or 40 of them. In hindsight, like I now know that a bunch of those were old leads from a year before, like a year before I was calling them. So like, okay, it's January 2021, and I'm calling leads from January of 2020 or 2019, 2018. I'm not calling older leads. Okay. But I didn't know any difference and I didn't really care. Okay. So I'm calling through these leads, and just real quick story. So one of these leads was a couple that had filled it out a year before I called them. Okay. So they filled it out like, early 2020. Here we are in 2021. Super nice. And I had to keep following up with them because they were busy, but they kept answering my phone calls. Okay. I ended up sitting down with them, got them both policies, got them both Mutual of Omaha. 6 months later, Earl, the husband, died. Okay, like he just randomly got bone cancer. Like I called his wife like 6 months in. I'm like, hey, how are you guys? I'm all chipper. She's like, well, not so good. She's like, Earl got diagnosed with, stage 4 bone cancer. Okay. And Earl ended up dying a couple months later than that. Mutual of Omaha paid out the death claim. Like, it was a terrible situation, but but they had life insurance. And here's the point I'm trying to make. I didn't know that those leads were old. I didn't care that those leads were old. And because I was persistent and kept calling those leads because I just didn't know any better. Okay, I didn't know any different. I just needed to make money, so I was willing to go put in the work. They had life insurance when they absolutely needed it. And if I didn't call them, Earl would have died and they wouldn't have had anything. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it is a mindset. And if your leads are a little bit older, like who cares? Call them. If you're not calling other leads, you need to be spending time calling the leads that you've got, and squeezing the juice out of those. So what I got to say about that. So another question here is what to do with a lead that says don't call back. Should I send a text or a business card? I think it really depends on the context of the don't call back. If somebody tells me like, hey, don't call me again about this, I'm not wasting my time trying to call them back. Okay. Like if they're like, hey, I'm not interested, don't want it, whatever, what am I going to convince them that they need life insurance? I'm not going to waste my time with that. Now, the reason I said that maybe there's some context is maybe you went through some options with them. Like, I don't, you got to give us some details on that. But for the most part, if someone's like, hey, stop calling me, don't reach out, like, okay, I'll take you off our list. Like I don't care. I just mark them red, in my spreadsheet, or you just take the lead like David has and just cross that thing out. Like don't waste your time calling people that don't want to talk to you. Like there's plenty of people out there that want to talk to you, ready to buy policies. Don't waste your time on that. What else you got?
I hate to do anything after Earl, man. That's singing into my head, dude. What we do actually is helping people. So
Yeah.
get out of the way. Go work hard enough to go find these people to help.
Yeah, 100%. And I ended up helping his wife with an annuity as well.
Of course you did.
Because it was, and that's the thing. Like it's all a mindset. Next question on here says, I've gotten a few ethos leads that say I don't remember filling anything out. What would your response be to that? What do you say? If I haven't really gotten a whole lot of that.
And just like any objection, just agree with them. Oh yeah, that's not uncommon, or throw the what seems to be. I thought Hutch made this up, but then I feel like everybody in the insurance industry uses this, so that's fine. I always give Hutch credit for it. Of I hardly remember what I had for breakfast today. That's all right. Just, throw a joke about yourself, how you can't remember what you did this morning, and that's totally normal that they don't remember doing something a few days or a few weeks ago, kind of thing. And then you just repeat it. Yeah, I was having to do about life insurance, and just it was given to I have a quote, and I just ignore it and keep going. Like you remember get some sort of buy-in again. Like, yeah, you remember trying to look into life insurance? You remember like that the price being too high because I was supposed to fix that. And
Yep.
they usually agree after that.
Acknowledge, ignore, move on. That's it. Acknowledge, ignore, move on. Cool,
Yeah.
guys. Well, David, I'm gonna let you close it out here. Let's go kick some ass, y'all. We're halfway through the month of April. You know what I mean? So if it's not where you want it to be, like let's mash the gas and let's finish strong. And Dr. David, you just close it out here. I'll end it when you're done.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Nick. Thanks, guys, for jumping on. And I don't know if Nick touched on Vegas or not, but I'm super excited. We're only a couple weeks away from that. So if you're looking to take something like what we're doing here, we had dozens and dozens of people on this call. If you want to take what we do in a quick little 30 minutes here and extend that into a full day of training, I promise you it will collapse months of a learning curve for people. So if you're trying to figure out how to make full-time money in insurance and you want to do it from home, the Vegas event will be the best event all year to be able to actually learn how to go and do that. Focused on virtual, focused on how to go and, what people are doing, exactly what they're doing, how to go and be able to duplicate that same kind of a system. Get around a lot of people that are having fun, having success. I absolutely love the Legacy Life family. Lots of people winning in highway. Even if you're not doing things virtually, there's people that are winning a highway. Our entire, company of the Alliance, is winning in a massive way. And a lot of them haven't even scratched the surface on doing anything virtual. So I feel like we're pioneers in that regard. The entire thing won't be about virtual, but it'll be much more heavy than a normal, maybe Alliance training would be with that. So I personally am very excited for that. Excited to, get to meet those that I haven't got to meet yet, and just kind of break bread with everybody, having fun, having success, and continuing to get 2025 the way we want it to go. So thanks, guys. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you in Vegas.
Let's go.